guys, welcome to another recap of Project Runway. I'm loving this season. I'm so sorry this is up so late, but the week got away from me. Alright, the whole show starts with the candlelight in the workroom. Glade is the obvious sponsor this week. They have their 2-in-1 candles. Each one has 2 scents. Not one, but 2. Just like this year's unconventional challenge. It doesn't only have the flower shop that Tim wants. It has the hardware store that Heidi loves. So each team is going to be doing a 6 looks, I'm sorry. I just got so excited. I really do love the unconventional challenges because it's more about art than it is about fabric, really. So if you can make art, you can make fashion. So the dream team is a little light in the loafers. They've only got 5 people. So Tim says that they get to pick 2 from Team Keeping It Real. And they decide to choose Stanley and Liana. And Team Keeping It Real thought they were off the hook, but they end up having to give up Michelle because the other team picks her. So, is that right? No, I don't... Hang on. And Team Keeping It Real gets to pick one of their own from the other side, and they decide to pick Michelle. So it's a 2-day challenge. How luxurious. And they have a budget of $2,500. That's crazy. Usually they throw them $150, $250 at the most. I did the math, and it's $416 average per look. That's pretty generous. So they go to the flower shop and the hardware store, you know, the whole run around like crazy, go shopping. And the dream team, they come up with first they come up with their cohesion, which is, let's do Dior 1950 chic. Perfect. So Team Keeping It Real, they're lucky that these designers can come up with a look, much less a cohesive look. Michelle ends up getting paired with Richard because they both wanted to do like this big flowy collar and everything. And they ended up not doing that. They ended up working with blinds. And at first it was really not coming together. Hours and hours and hours later, they finally figured out that they were going to do this sort of bondage type cage dress, which was semi-successful. Ben, he's weaving his own fabric. Does he think that he had like a week to do this? Because it's, you know, it's 2 days, but come on. Weaving your own fabric? Definitely some time issues there. And Joe made a net. This isn't Little Mermaid Under the Sea. This is flower shop, hardware store. Why would you make a fishing net with like really big holes in it? It basically looked like a net blanket that he draped over his model. Alright, so Tim comes to check in, and he says, Joe, what the F? Your outfit is huge. It's a freaking tablecloth net. Joe's okay with it, but apparently he's the only one who was, because there was an awful lot of eye rolling when Tim was doing his critique and Joe was trying to defend it. Kate, it kind of looks like a volcano project. I have to agree, the bottom part does, but the bodice was really beautiful. Cohesion kids? Maybe mental patients. I don't know. They struggled with that. They came up with decades after they hemmed and hawed and tried to grab every straw that they could. Dream team? Samantha and Ben, the only critique I could give is there's some time issues going on there. Samantha was having a real problem with her design because she decided to use this contact lattice paper. It had like a lattice printed on it, and I guess she was using an X-Acto blade to cut out the negative space on the lattice, and it was taking forever. And besides, her original design looked extremely busy. It was a gown. I'm glad she didn't go with it. She ended up going with something much shorter day of. She had a vision the night before. She woke up and she said, this is what it's going to be, and it turned out really nice. So Amanda, she had problems with her moss. She sprayed this stuff to keep it from shedding, and it ended up making it very brittle and crunchy, and a lot of it was deteriorating and falling apart. Joe to the rescue. It's so weird that Joe can fix other people's designs, but he can't fix his own. Physician, heal thyself. Joe's net ended up morphing into this screen sweater dress thing that he called a coat that had a lot of flowers on it. That was just, it looked like something David Byrne from Talking Heads would have been wearing at one of his concerts, but in a girl version. Alright, so runway time. Zach Posen, of course. Leandra Medine. She writes a blog called The Man Repeller. I'm gonna have to look that up. Nina Garcia, and of course Heidi. But this week only, guest judge Bette Midler. Oh, the divine Miss M. Love it. So it's pretty clear after the runway show that the Dream Team has this beautiful cohesion. Every one of their pieces is a winner. Nothing sucks. They deservedly should win. But the judges were all like, oh, it was so close. We don't have a losing team and a winning team. We have like a second winning team, or you know what I mean? Like first loser is really second place. I don't know, but it should be team keeping it unreal. They went with decades. The judges were like, really? I don't get it. And neither did I. It was really quite a stretch. But the judges were kind. Probably because almost all of the outfits, the looks, had something that was nice about them. And then, but they all had something that was not nice about them. So Joe, oh my gosh, poor Joe. When Zach Posen was like, okay, so your decade was the future, which isn't really a decade, but his should have been the 2000s. But they said, so how do you see the future? And Joe said, unfitted clothes, not caring about like a women's silhouette, whatever, just being comfortable. Zach Posen almost died on the spot. He was horrified. I thought he was just going to walk off the show. I'm pretty mortified too, because fashion is really all about celebrating the body, because your clothes are your body is the hanger for your clothes. So you're just accentuating and dressing up and beautifying your body with the clothes. So, boy, it didn't take long for everyone to throw Amanda under the bus, though. She had that problem with the moss. One person said Amanda, and they were all like shark feeding frenzy. Even Amanda. Poor Amanda. She couldn't even defend herself. She was like, yeah, I guess they're right. That was so dumb. Anyway, let's talk about the winner. They said Samantha was the winner. I would have chosen Liana. I thought Liana's was just, it just looked more like something that would actually be in a show. I thought Samantha's was a little bit unfinished, but Liana's was like perfection. But they chose Samantha. And for the bottom two, it was down between Joe and Amanda. I'm really surprised. I thought it was going to be down between Joe and Patricia. I absolutely hated Patricia's look. I don't know what she was thinking. It was just, it was like a dirty dress underneath with just some flowers hanging on it and strings. I don't know. I didn't get the whole concept there. But Joe was sent home. Poor Joe. He's going to have to go home in his ill-fitting clothes now. Sorry, Joe. Maybe you can get a job fixing other people's mistakes. So after Joe was sent home, Tim Gunn comes running in there. I want to see everyone on the runway in 10 minutes. Uh-oh, hot dog. Next time it's Miranda Lambert. Yeah. And now get ready for this. Designers, everyone sucks. Till next week, which is tomorrow. Much love.